Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and as always, welcome back to yet another Mortal Kombat video. With us today, tackling an interesting topic of debate that I must admittedly say wasn't something I actually expected to touch upon following Floyd's release. But it is something I'm seeing some concerns about, as many believe the existence of Floyd effectively removes or strips Chameleon of any uniqueness to the series and the timeline. Thus, today, I thought it would be a good opportunity to weigh my thoughts on these issues and the current worries surrounding this topic. How does it affect both Chameleon and Floyd? And most importantly, where and how could Chameleon actually fit into the current canon? Because honestly, I do think that his existence has already been foreshadowed. It's just done in a really subtle way without having to necessarily name drop him. But before we do delve right into things, I do wish to plug as well as point out that I have already done 2 Floyd videos prior to this one. One which touches on his troubled creation, and one that touches on the potential lore that does surround this character. These are videos that I do want to highlight, as I will be drawing a lot of information from them into this singular video. I won't be going as in depth, because that's what these videos are for, but if you wish to have a more detailed description and exploration of the character, as well as why people are currently worried about his appearance here, I do strongly recommend you check these 2 out probably before you watch this one. So the big question right now is, why are so many people worried about the erasure of Chameleon? Well, that's all been largely due to the ever so recent creation and release of Floyd, the new pink male ninja of the series. And the reason why there has been a cause for concern is because of Floyd's overall current moveset, being a mishmash amalgamation of iconic ninja moves from the franchise, something which has been inherently done by Chameleon. However, there is one huge factor here that is really being overlooked, and that is the somewhat meaning behind secret fights. As mentioned in my previous videos touching on the topic, all characters that do fall under the secret fight parameters typically have returned back to the series with a completely new and original moveset. Perfect examples of this are Reptile, Smoke, Jade, and Noob. All secret fight characters and all individuals that did adopt other ninjas' movesets upon their debut. They weren't entirely original in that regard, but here's the thing that people are kind of overlooking with Chameleon here. Chameleon is a secret fighter in MK3 but does not have a secret fight. He doesn't fall under the traditional unlock parameters in order to meet him. Instead, you would have to use a combat code in order to play him. Thus, whilst I definitely see the similarities of the Chameleon to Floyd thing, the approach that NetherRealm are clearly taking with this character is very different with how they've previously handled Chameleon. Which then raises the question of, should you be worried? And honestly, probably not, because again, there's a clear history and pattern of how they've handled these secret fight characters. I most certainly do expect that the next time we encounter Floyd, it will more than likely be a main timeline canonical version of him that has his own unique gimmicks as well as tool set to the series. I do not expect him to at all play like Chameleon after his debut. And honestly, if we are going to be drawing comparisons here, Floyd kinda sits in more of the Reptile camp than that of the Chameleon one. At least with the intent, design, purpose, and creation behind this specific ninja. So with that in mind, what's actually going on with Chameleon here? What do we know of him in the current new era? Has he been erased? Has he been neutralized? How does he exactly fit in here? Well, I do actually believe that Chameleon has already been set up, but it's something we've all largely overlooked due to the vast amount of numbers and changes and alterations to this canon. Because of this, and much like his namesake, he's been able to hide in plain sight, with us probably overlooking what's going on with him and how he's being tackled in the new era. So to answer my own question, could Chameleon exist in the new era? Yes, I do in fact believe he is present here, but plays an off-screen role in Reptile's ending. For those that need a refresher, we come to learn in Syzoth's arcade ladder ending that he himself isn't a unique anomaly amongst the Saurian people. In fact, there's been a long line of them throughout the history of Zaterran, but there's a deep-seated conspiracy amongst the Raptors, which has resulted in the death of hundreds of thousands of his kind. A way to stop this anomaly from spreading, with the known culprits completely unknown, but one that clearly has deep ties within the Council of Zaterran. So with all of these factors in mind, it should be pretty obvious what I'm insinuating at here. But if you think about it, this is the perfect open gap and opportunity that Chameleon needs in order to be reinserted to the canon, because he hasn't been seen since Armageddon and he was completely absent during the reboot trilogy. And I gotta be real here, with how broad and open Chameleon's canvas is, his inclusion and return here could be really beneficial in a lot of ways. Because of all of the MK ninjas, if you think about it, Chameleon is arguably the least developed of them all here. Even in canon and in universe, Chameleon has never actually been confirmed to be either Saurian or Zaterran, despite the very obvious fact that he clearly shares all of the same traits that his female counterpart does have. By canonizing him here, this would not just be a really good and healthy way of reintroducing him to a new generation, but for us to actually utilize some of that untapped potential that's always lingered around him. Plus, with Syzoth no longer serving as an antagonistic jobber, on paper, this could actually set up Chameleon to be the perfect nemesis to him, something that Reptile's always lacked since his debut. And if you think about it, back with the context of Reptile's arcade ladder ending, not only does this serve as a way to reintroduce Chameleon, but a way to actually open up the world of Zaterran in a pretty humongous way. So with this being a deep-seated conspiracy hidden from the public, I doubt that Chameleon would be doing these acts by himself. Orders like this would have to come up through a higher chain of command. More specifically, what I believe to be the Matriarch, Queen of Zaterran and her people. Now look, when it comes to the Matriarch, very little is known about her. Hell, a Matriarch hasn't been officially canonized in the new era. Yet, with the invasion modes having touched on another timeline where Chameleon is their queen, it's very clear that this idea still does exist in the present, even if it isn't currently established right now. And with Shao Kahn having never conquered their world and realm, Zaterran remains as a part of Outworld's new established kingdom, free of conquest and enslavement. So for the first real time in the series, we don't just have an opportunity to understand the world of Zaterran, but we really get to breathe some life into it as well as the characters that originate from it. We get to understand its society. Now, truth be told, with the little to no information that we do have here, there's nothing to say that Chameleon or the Matriarch are responsible for this. But this is all merely a process of elimination that allows this theory to kind of take shape here. Whilst yes, they could indeed establish new characters, with the current documented mythos, this currently just makes that much more sense in the universe. So with these links tied to one another, it then raises the question of, why would the Matriarch, the head of her people, would silently be killing off her offspring? Well, I do actually have a pretty solid theory in mind. Throughout the series, they've been referred to by many names. Raptors, Saurians, and Zaterrans. But in the new era, there seems to be a distinguished difference between Saurians and Zaterrans, with Reptile himself being a Zaterran, whereas Chameleon is referred to as a Saurian. They haven't gone down on record to say what distinguishes the two from each other, as it very well could be based on gender, or difference of region in the realm. But from a visual and power standpoint, it's very clear that there is indeed a difference between the two, with Saurians taking on a paler complexion of skin, and presumably not utilizing a reptilian form, whereas the Zaterrans have the full ability to transform and camouflage. Thus, whilst they share genetics, they do split off in their own directions here. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is that the anomaly of human Zaterrans may be seen as either an insult or a threat to the Queen. Because you gotta kind of keep in mind, with the Matriarch serving as the head of their society, she may see these sorts of offsprings as a bastardized mutation of her gene seed, a defective genetic version of herself that she wishes to kill in order to preserve the vision of her being pure. We also do have to keep in mind that at the time of making this video, we've never truly explored the life cycle of a Zaterran in the MK mythos. So of their long history and influence having come from reptiles themselves, I believe it's quite safe to assume that they are born through eggs, through that of the Matriarch herself. Again, this is all just theory, speculations, and rumors on my part. But it is something I wanted to expand upon and share, because it's very clear to me that in the new era, not only is there a great window of opportunity to insert Chameleon back into the mythos, but do so in a way that's extremely unique. And again, I know whilst many are worried about Floyd replacing Chameleon, I really do not see that taking shape here, especially with the differences I've clearly highlighted between a secret fight and a secret character. So I really don't see Chameleon falling into this trap here. I think they can both coexist. And whilst Floyd is basically the new flavor of the month, I definitely don't see a reason why they can exist in the next game together. And hell, if the whole Matriarch thing does prove to hold any weight or any validity, you can even have it so Chameleon acts as her personal bodyguard, learning the tricks of Earthrealm's greatest champions in order to achieve his goal. So with that said everyone, that has been it for this video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. I know I went off the rails in a pretty crazy direction here, but I really wanted to show you all and emphasize the golden goose egg that's kind of sitting in our lap here. Say what you will about Liu Kang's new era and some of the very questionable changes, but Reptile as well as Zaterran have undoubtedly benefited from it. So I really do hope it's capitalized upon. So I now relay the question to all of you of, how would you like to see Chameleon be tackled in the new era? But for now everyone, stay strong, stay well, and I'll catch you in the next one.